Welcome to Design Santa Barbara. I'm Michael Kourosh, and this week we are in Santa Barbara Design Center, where we are joined by my good friend Roger Battistone, who recently released his new book, An Illustrated History of Santa Barbara, an ultimate coloring book. Roger, thank you for being here.
Thank you, and it's proud to be with you. When you sold me all those rugs years ago, and now you're a movie star, so it's great to be with you.
I never forget, first time I met you, that was like over a quarter century ago.
That's
and
true.
I was a little bit younger, and you were telling me, I'm Roger, and I used to call you, I was Mr. Battistone. And he used to say, I'm Roger, call me Roger. I say, yes, Mr. Battistone, I will call you.
I called you Mr. Mike.
Thank you. Nice having you on our show. I appreciate it for being here. And I actually enjoyed your book. That was beautiful. So I have a few questions for the viewers.
Sure.
Let's start with your history in the Santa Barbara community. Tell us about your family history, including your father's legacy.
Well, my dad was born in Italy, came over when he was 7. His dad had come 2 years before, and he worked in the coal mines of Pittsburgh. And my dad went to school there, and when he got out of school, he went to work in the coal mines too. But through all the strikes and all that, he decided, he and his buddy hopped on a freight train, came all the way out to California. When the 1933 earthquake in Long Beach was, they thought there'd be a lot of jobs there, no jobs. But they got a job in Hemet, and they helping a lady on a farm with apricots. And later he went to, got a job as a cook in the Bluebell Cafe in Glendale, and that's where I met my mother, who came out from South Dakota. And later on they moved to Santa Barbara, opened a restaurant, Sammy's Grill on Lower State Street, 511 State Street. And then later on when there was a restaurant that came available on the beach in Santa Barbara, and it had 4 restaurants that had failed there, so they opened up Sambo's restaurants. He got a partner, Newell Bonnet, and so they call it Sam Battistone, and Newell, Bonnet. And anyway, they ended up, after it went so well, they opened over 1,200 restaurants.
1,200 restaurants?
Yeah.
I knew they opened a lot of restaurants, but 1,200 restaurants, that's a world record for back then.
Well, yeah, they were pumping good at that time. It's just kind of been a sign of the times. It started out mainly as a pancake house because, like Uncle John's Pancake House started out here too. They did real well, and but later changed over to 24-hour restaurants.
Yeah, I've been to Sambo's at the beach. It's still there, and it's actually delicious. Is your nephew or your cousin still owns it, correct?
Yeah, my nephew Chad, my sister's son, operates that now. We operated it for quite a while. We, when they sold all the Sambo's, we bought that one back, and it's been in the family since. Myself, I'm kind of tired of the restaurant business after working all those years. But I started at that restaurant when I was in 5th grade and selling newspapers out in front, then went to the dishwasher, the waiting tables, dining, cooking, and all through school. And later on, I opened the number 100 Sambo's out in Goleta. And then I left and opened up my own chain of restaurants. I had 30 restaurants at one time.
Wonderful. Well, that's very nice. Thank you for sharing that. So, biggest question, what does Santa Barbara mean to you?
That's my hometown. Actually, I've been here since I've been 3 years old. I've attended Franklin School, Santa Barbara Junior High, Santa Barbara High School, went on to restaurant school, and then went to the University of Denver for a while, came back and went to Westmont College here in town. And I've always wanted to, it's just a lovely town. And to watch it grow like it has, I think it's a beautiful town, still is. A lot of changes, some people don't like them, more traffic, but
life is about changes.
Yes,
and,
it is. And I think it's increased in beauty. So
I actually like it a lot. I call this place paradise, and I keep saying it on every little show. It's heaven, we live here. So let's get to the book. How did this book come about?
Well, it started probably way back in the late 80s. I traveling to Europe and all that, and going to Egypt and over to Turkey and to Morocco, and I always started collecting coloring books. And I said, I'm going to do a history color book on Santa Barbara at some point, and that's when it really started.
And this is a few years ago.
Yes, it was, yeah. And then in the early 90s, I tried to get Kurt Winter, the local Santa Barbara artist that started E. Molinari. He was doing some paintings in our house, and I asked him and Jill Avery about maybe doing a book, and kind of let it pass. Then when I started my automobile collection, I got Waldo Glasby, and some of his pictures are here today. And Waldo did some posters for me for the Woody Club that we were in, and some other early Ford V8 Club posters, and I talked to him about doing the
Coloring book?
history color book, and we actually did a prototype, and we tried to get Walker Tompkins, the famous historian here in town, tried to get his wife to edit the book for us, but she had just moved to LA. She was 80 years old, and she decided it's just too much to edit all the material we had. So I just laid the book aside for a while until I met Michael Mold, and with my collection of hundreds of Santa Barbara history books, and Michael, he took like 1 million words and consolidated them down to a small story, and then he did the graphics. So we did the historical side on one part, and then on the other side, it's you can use artist pencils to color those graphics. And it's been a long 5 years. Michael, unbelievable, say, with over the 400 illustrations he did and the short stories, and the book took much longer, like 5.5, well, it's probably 5 years. And finally had it printed, and it came here February 1st.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I looked at it. It's just very interesting. You call it coloring book, but it's actually beautiful history in it. It teaches you from a little kid can enjoy this thing all the way to somebody in the hundreds.
Yeah, it's probably written more for an adult, but the thing is, we're trying to get the children of Santa Barbara interested in history. I go to all these history lectures, like Aaron Graffey and Neil Graffey and Betsy Green, and the thing is, the crowd that goes there is kind of probably like me, the Gray Fox crowd. And I
would not call it Gray Fox,
interested.
but yes, I'm a little bit of elder age. You're right.
But anyway, I'm trying to get the youth interested in the history. And this book, like Neil Graffey told me, he said he stops a lot of his books at 1925, and this carries it not only from the pre-Chumash at the Santa Rosa Islands out there to the race of people that lived there before them, all the way to the modern day here, through the conquistadors, through the Chumash, the Spanish influence, the missions. It covers everything in the Santa Barbara history there. And I got to credit Michael, to do it. He's the architect of this book, and it's fabulous what he's done.
This is
I'm really
beautiful
proud
job.
of it. So
I understand this book took 5 years to develop. Tell us about that journey.
Well, it was a long journey. It's been in my head for 20 years. But 10 years, I started on the book ago, and I came out with a smaller version of this book. And then after I met Michael, we went for the full hardback and a coffee table book here. It's taken 5 years with Michael, and him working, he starts at 11 o'clock at night, gets done at 4 in the morning on that computer. He's done that for the last 4.5 years. It's unbelievable what he's done. So,
yeah, that's beautiful. And you were telling me that originally maybe you were thinking to do something for your own kids, although this is not for the kids, but that's what one of your inspirations was.
Yeah, they liked all the color books I collected, but I wanted to do something more adult-oriented. If you look at what's being sold today, you go to the bookstores now. There's a lady from France that's done the garden in the garden. She sold over like 1 million coloring books. They do it for mental health. It's unbelievable what the call for these books is out in the adult community. So
yeah, it's beautiful, very therapeutic. You're correct.
We have probably more stories in there. They're all on the inside of the front cover and the back side of inside the back cover too. But the book got so large, and we wanted to pay tribute to all these different people that from Santa Barbara history and the missions and the Chumash, everybody who was involved, but we didn't have room for it all, and so we have more to do, maybe at a later date.
Maybe another one?
Yes.
Well, this is fascinating. When we come back, we will have more questions for Roger. Stay tuned. There will be more Design Santa Barbara after the break. Hi, I'm Michael Kurosh, and I would like to personally offer you a special thanks for supporting our show as we enter our 11th season. When you come into Santa Barbara Design Center and mention the show, we will pay the sales tax on your entire purchase, including rugs, sofas, sectionals, and accessories. Please come visit us at Santa Barbara Design Center, 410 Olive Street. And once again, thank you for supporting our show. This week on Michael's Minute, we are going to talk about modern and transitional rugs. At Santa Barbara Design Center, we have over 1,000 modern and transitional rugs at any given time in various sizes and colors. A modern or transitional rug can completely transform your living space. It can make a cold room comfortable or balance out an uneven contrast. We can also custom make the modern rug of your dreams, designed to your specification, taste, and color. And at Santa Barbara Design Center, we can do it faster, better, for less. That's why the top designers in the world use our modern and transitional rugs. To see our vast collection or start designing your custom masterpiece, come visit us at Santa Barbara Design Center, 410 Olive Street.
Welcome to Rugs and More. We provide the West Coast with the most comprehensive collection of new Oriental and antique rugs. Rugs are solid art investments and often become cherished family treasures. Our limitless inventory will warm up your home. Exotic or traditional, tribal or modern, our rugs weave stories through intricate patterns, compelling colors, and touchable materials. Number one in Santa Barbara for over 20 years. Visit us today at Rugs and More, 410 Olive Street in Santa Barbara.
Welcome back to Design Santa Barbara. This week we are with Roger Battistone talking about his new book, An Illustrated History of Santa Barbara, an ultimate coloring book. Roger, thank you for being here again.
Pleasure being with you, Mike.
You're awesome. Another question I have for you. Tell us about your approach to researching this book. That must have been really hard, actually. There's a lot of information in it.
Yes, I started collecting books when I was in high school on the history of Santa Barbara, and I've read almost every one that's out there so far. And a lot of them are long, especially Walker Tompkins. His books are probably some of the best, but they're so detailed. I mean, it's major stories. And after collecting all those too, then I decided on try to do that historical color book. And but during the last 5 years, we've collected much more material too. And plus, Michael Mould has dove into that. I told you, probably read 1 million words and condensed all these stories to short stories that could be in our book. And it's gone to a lot of lectures, I told you, like Neil Graffey, Aaron Graffey, and Betsy Green here in town. And it's just been last 5 years, probably 3 years of research out of that too.
That's beautiful. I mean, you cover the whole history. And I tell you about the history books. I'm a history buff myself, and I like him. Sometimes they become a little bit boring. I mean, even for me, this is nothing but interesting. That's amazing. It just, you want to go through it, and you have these illustrations. It makes it very interesting, even for adults. Especially, I liked it a lot, to be honest with you. Very nice.
And there's a great quote by Ben Franklin in here that Michael found that's, tell me I might forget, and then involve me, and I will learn. And that's what Michael tried to do with this book. I mean, you not only read it, you can follow along with the graphics there and then get involved on several different points. You can actually do the artist drawing on those too.
What are the most fascinating parts of Santa Barbara's history so far you have researched?
Yeah, it's when you start delving into the history, you recognize all the names like Winchester, Hollister, and
you think they're just names?
Yeah, but
people go, okay, Winchester,
the streets here too.
Ortega, De La Guerra.
Yeah, actually, and Neil Graffey does a great job on his book, the street names of Santa Barbara.
By the way, we had Erin Graffey here on our show, and she's
yeah.
like knowledge beyond.
She is, and yes, I took her boat tour they do, go up and down the coast, and then she explains all about all the different places on the coast there. But we've, like I said, we've delved into almost every book written on Santa Barbara and just tried to do condense those stories into this book here. And it's like I said, you're not going to sit down and read that in one sitting. You're going to read parts of it, and they're short stories, which is great. I mean, and each one's a little different. It starts, like I say, back in the history with the Chumash there, and we tried to, make a good thing about all the people we talk about too. I mean, whether it's the fathers of the missions, the building of the missions, the Chumash. I mean, tried to put a good light on all Santa Barbara and the all the people that were a major part of building Santa Barbara, whether it was 200 years ago or in today's day. You look at the very back of the cover. The latest one we had was the passing of Larry Crandall, Mr. Santa Barbara, and Michael Tobes from the Bank of Montecito, two great humanitarians from Santa Barbara, and tried to pay a tribute to them. We put them in there because this book was supposed to come out a year before, and so we added that page. Plus we added a page on there. It's got all the emblems for all the first responders for the Montecito fires and floods and all the coastal ones. And so we tried to pay a tribute to them too.
Wonderful.
Those are the modern parts.
So a lot of people don't know, like, fascinating is that probably the first people that lived in North America, especially this part, were living actually off the islands.
Yeah, that's what they say. I mean, there's some dispute on some of it, but we paid tribute to Phil Orr from the History Museum, who actually uncovered the bones for the baby mammoths, and later on he uncovered the bones for the Arlington men in Arlington Canyon out there on Santa Rosa. And when he first tried to tell academia that, hey, these bones are like 13,000 years ago, no, there's nothing past 9,000 years. And he said, well, I think, okay, 9,000. So, but then when DNA came out later in carbon dating, they were 13,000 years. And so they actually, at that point, they thought they were some of the oldest ever on North America.
It's amazing. This is very interesting.
Well, we've tried to cover almost every aspect of the history of Santa Barbara in a good light. Before, I was going to say Michael, he lived in Ventura. He said, well, I'm not so sure about Santa Barbara, about the history and all that. It's kind of snobbish to me. He said, from Ventura. I said, no, you're wrong. But anyway, once he got into the history, he'd go full force into it. He became a history buff of Santa Barbara and found out what a great town, and the connection with all these different parts of the country, and why the people came to this town. It's very rewarding for Santa Barbara people to know about it, especially the youth. I'm trying to get the youth in Santa Barbara to get in there. So,
what were some of the most interesting things you learned along the way?
Well, I probably knew a lot of the names, but then delving into all the history and reading about it, you find out all these different families and all there. And some of them had some sidelines to those families. I mean, I'm not going to mention some, but it was actually overall, it's, to me, just to learn about the history. And there's so many things out there that people don't realize. I've told my brother-in-law, Guy Rivera, I said, talk about Mescaleton Island out there at the airport, and what that airport was before. You know, the airport was there built by the Marines, and but just tidbits of history, and that the common person doesn't always know, and it's a great learning experience.
Absolutely true. It's good to know. So did writing this book change your appreciation for Santa Barbara?
I've always had a great love for Santa Barbara. It's been my hometown. Actually, I'm not living in Santa Barbara right now. Went over
it's
the
Santa
mountain.
Barbara County.
Okay,
it's Santa Barbara County.
But my heart is here, and I spent all my school years here, and beyond that too. And it's just it's a great place. It's a beautiful town. And I want to tell all the visitors here and all the people that live here, this book is a simple read, and well, maybe at high school level, but anyway, to me, it's my tribute to Santa Barbara and Michael Mold's tribute. I mean, once he got into finding out this, he was so impressed with the history here and how these people did what they did. And so
it's beautiful. You did a wonderful job, and it's a great legacy. When we come back, I have more questions for Roger, including how people can purchase his book. Stay tuned. We will come back, Design Santa Barbara, after this break. This week on Michael's Minutes, we are going to talk about sectionals. At Santa Barbara Design Center, we will custom build a sectional to your specifications at our factory right here in California. No room is too big or too small. Our line of comfort sectionals are built to the exact size and shape you need for your room. Let you and your family enjoy the luxury of angel hair wrap, the most comfortable seating in the world. Choose from multiple colors and stain-resistant fabrics that can withstand children, pets, and spills. But don't just take my word for it. Come into Santa Barbara Design Center at 410 Olive Street and feel the comfort of a new sectional for yourself. We live in one of the most beautiful locations in the world. I've raised my kids here. I love it here. What we offer at Santa Barbara Design Center isn't just furniture. It's a chance to turn a house into a home. What may look like a deal online, it's very different when it shows up. It's something to be said for feeling it before it becomes part of your life. We are here to help guide you through this wonderful process. We are Santa Barbara Design Center. Come start your journey with us. This week on Design FYI, we're going to talk about sofas and the unknown mistakes people make. Did you know average American spends 46 minutes a day in a car, but they spend 5 hours and 4 minutes on average on a sofa? So why would you go out there and spend tens of thousands of dollars for something you use for 46 minutes and then go ahead and buy something cheap that you sit on it for 5 hours and 4 minutes? At Santa Barbara Design Center, we create you a custom sofa that is made for you specifically and to your shape and size and comfort and your family. So when you're sitting and watching TV or talking and conversing with your friends, you're sitting on actually something that represents you. Your car represents you. Why shouldn't your sofa? Thank you for joining us on Design FYI this week, and please come see me at Santa Barbara Design Center, 410 Olive, and let me help you find the right sofa for you and your family. Welcome back to Design Santa Barbara. We have been talking with Roger Battistone about his incredible new book and illustrated history of Santa Barbara, an ultimate coloring book. Congratulations, Roger. Thank you for being on our show.
Thank you, Mike.
I really enjoyed your book. So I have a few more questions for you.
Sure.
What do you hope people take away from your beautiful book?
Probably the best thing is, like I said, is trying to reach the youth of Santa Barbara, but it's probably more adult related. But the thing is, I just want them to learn more about Santa Barbara. I mean, it's great to live here and it's a great city to live in. Thing is, you need to know a little more about the history in it. And this is written so it'll be a short read, and you can be active into it by using the colored pencils if you want. But just the myriad of short stories about the history of Santa Barbara and how it was formed from, say, the Santa Rosa Islands to way back in the history to the modern day. So
you know, it's very interesting to talk about history. I love history because if you don't know history, you don't know where you come from, you don't know where you're going actually. So that's my whole thinking about it. And wherever you live and you know history about it, it makes that space a lot more interesting and likable. That's what I think. Like around my neighborhood, I was kind of like, I don't know, I walked in Santa Barbara. It was 30 years ago when I first met you. So it's an amazing history things to know why they call it Salsipueros or, you know, Laguna, because it used to be a lagoon.
Exactly.
So, and you did a wonderful job on this. Congratulate you. Very important question for the viewers. Where can they purchase this epic piece of Santa Barbara history?
Yeah, we have quite a few places in Santa Barbara now. Chaucer's, they've sold out twice of the books already.
Chaucer's, Maury Carley, she's the best there is.
Yeah, and then it's at Tecolote out in Montecito, Tecolote Bookstore, and at the Maritime Museum, and at the Santa Barbara Design Center. I'm not sure if you know where that is, but
it should be around here somewhere on Olive Street. Yeah, we have it. Thank you.
The History Museum downtown, and then we have it at the Book Loft in Solvang, Art Walk on La Arcada, and at the, the Museum of Art downtown at the gift store, and at Randall Bookshouse. They carry all these older books, Randall Bookhouse, and we just got it in the zoo this morning. So
nice.
And so I'm out.
You're out everywhere.
Yeah, I am. Trying to get
Pretty soon you're going to be just the only author in whole Santa Barbara.
Oh, no.
Beautiful. Yeah, I like it a lot. So if they want to purchase Chaucer's, we have some too, and everywhere else you mentioned. Thank you. Yeah. So do you have plans for more books in the future? Well,
actually we do have this one pamphlet that came out. Actually, I had it done last year. I was waiting for the book to come out, but we call it At a Glance, and it's actually it's a short version of this book here.
A super condensed version of it.
But This one has a map on the backside. It's of all the important spots of Santa Barbara, and everything is GPS oriented, and so you can take your phone and you can find that spot. And the same as on the larger book too. Everything is GPS. Every site on there has GPS coordinates. And this one also, it does tell the history, but it's got a real condensed version of all the early explorers on this one too. And it's got a map of California when they thought it was still an island. This is way back when. But anyway, this book.
Yeah, we are an island. In the whole nation, I think we are an island. So I understand you're also working on another book.
I am. I've been writing a book on the rise and fall of Sambo's restaurant chain. It's an insider's version, but that isn't the title of the book. I'm not going to tell you what the title is, but I think it's going to be a big hit. It can tell. There's a lot of stories why that restaurant chain got up to 1,200 stores and then it fell and sold out to all these other restaurant chains. But we actually kept the original one down in Santa Barbara. So, I'll give you the inside story pretty soon.
Love to. Thank you. Yeah, I take you on that. I would like to thank Roger Battistone for joining us this week to talk about his new book, and I encourage you all to go out and purchase a copy yourself. You will learn a great deal about what makes our community special, and I think you will have fun coloring in the pages. Thank you for watching, and thank you very much, Roger.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Mike.
it again.
Yeah, pleasure
and
being
looking
here.
forward to have you again on the show.
Thank you.